Hey Stampers, I'm back with my virtual card club. Today I'm going to be featuring two cards here using the new set called Nature's Harvest in the New Occasions mini catalog, and it has some beautiful dies with it. I'll be showing you that later. And if you place a $100 order, you can get this free stamp set called Delicate Dahlias. And it's just gorgeous. I really love the set. So we're making a third card with that today. And I'm sure you'll fall in love with it like I have. So I'm going to start with this card first. And let me just grab the paper for that. So for that we need 8.5 by 4 1/4 of the basic gray, and I'm going to fold it in half and take my bone folder and embellish it. All right, and then I've got the lighter gray background, and just make sure I have all the pieces here. We're going to be making tags with the white and the DSP and the gray. I need this scrap to cut out my embellishment. All right, so we're good here. So the first thing I want to do is just go ahead and make my tags. And I'm going to be using this punch for that. I like to do it upside down so I can see that it's all lined up here along the punch, and it is. So there's one, and that looks good. Two. Didn't quite punch through. There we go. And we'll do the white. So this is a 2-inch strip, by the way. There we go. All right, so there are my 3 tags, and let's get started. So the first thing I want to do, or I guess the second thing since we made the tags, is stamp the background on the gray. And I'm using basic gray, and I'm going to stamp off. So what does it mean to stamp off? It means you want to stamp, instead of stamping directly to the paper, you want to stamp on your scrap, and then you can stamp, and that makes it a little bit lighter, so it's not so bold. And I just keep twisting the card stock so that all my images are going different directions, so it doesn't all look the same. And I'm just kind of filling in the bare patches. And there. Maybe I'll just do one more little one right there, so that looks good. Clean this real fast. All right, and now I'm going to take my pale papaya and do the same thing on the white tag. So I'll set this aside. And same thing, I'm stamping off. So there, there. All right, so there's that tag. I want to just do one more little bit here. All right, so that looks good. The background and the tag. This is a really fast card, by the way, and it's gorgeous. So hey. All right, next I want to do my flower. Which actually I have it set up in my in this, so I'm just gonna do it in this. So there we go. And so I'm using my basic gray again, and I'm gonna ink up that image. Bring this over and press it. And there it is. So now we get to play with that. Let me quickly clean this off because I'm going to use a different color later for it. So it's too hard to bring the cleaning process on camera to show you how I did that, so sorry. All right, so now we're going to color these, which is really the fun part. I'm going to be using my blending pens for that. So these are alcohol markers, and they make a very vivid and beautiful design. So I'm going to start with my darkest one first, which is Calypso Coral, the dark Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to color the left side of the whatever part of the flower that's called. I should probably know that, but these kind of remind me of I have some Coreopsis. I don't know if I pronounced it right out there in this shade, and they're just really gorgeous. So that's why I colored it. So this was the lighter Calypso Coral. And now I'm going to do the petals. Gosh, my brain is like gone today. I'm going to do the petals. I'm going to start with Pale Papaya, and I'm going to do the light Pale Papaya. I'm going to do the whole petal and then come back in with some darker color in a minute. So if you liked to color as a young child, this is for you because it's just a lot of fun. I don't think I'm really that good if you just give me a paintbrush, but I'm really good at coloring when I have these blends. It just makes everyone into an artist. So it's a lot of fun. Hey Phyllis, welcome. All right, so let me do this one over here. Okay, so that was the light Pale Papaya. Oh, hi Carol, welcome. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job watching today. Darn, that was supposed to be the light Pale Papaya, and I just did the dark. I did it wrong, folks, so, well, we'll just go with this. So on this one, I did the lighter Pale Papaya on the bottom and then went to the dark. This one, I made a mistake and did dark, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just do light Calypso Coral as my next color, since I'll just roll with my mistake here. It'll look a little different than my original card, but it'll still be pretty. So the darker color is just going to go towards the top of each petal. And honestly, you can't really make a mistake on these. They just might look different than the other ones. It just wasn't what I had planned, but it'll still look gorgeous. All right, so that looks good. And then I'm going to take the dark Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to I'm going to pick up a few of these little black lines just to kind of give it a little contrast. And it seems kind of bright right now, but I'm going to soften it in a second. I'll show you a little technique to do that. All right, so we're just going to pick off a few. And now I'm going to take, this time I'm actually going to use my light pale papaya, which I should have done to start with. But hey, I like this. I think it's really quite pretty. And I'm just going to color over the whole thing, and that's going to soften the dark Calypso coral lines and just kind of blend it all together. Oops, I see I forgot my little flower over there, so I'll go get that in a minute. All right, so that looks good. Let me just go back and, boy, I totally forgot it. All right, I got the light Calypso coral again. You might be using the dark pale papaya. Just the darker color is really all you need. And I'm going to go right there towards the bottom. I'm going to take my dark Calypso coral and just do a couple little lines here. My light pale papaya. And there, that looks good. Very good. All right, and now I did the stems in gray, actually. I don't usually do that, but this was a gray card, so I've got my smoky slate, and I did the light smoky slate on the stems. And I'm just going to cover the entire stem, and then I'll come back with the dark smoky slate. I'm going to try the other side so I don't make a mess. I'm going to do the fine tip side instead of the brush side. I can usually do the brush side, but to make these videos I have to stand up, and so it's a little bit awkward, so I'm not probably in the best position to color. So if I color outside of the lines, you will have to forgive me. Yeah, and the reason I have to stand up is so I can see my comments on my phone. I should probably explore getting a better setup so that I don't have to do that. So it's a little bit of, exercise while I'm doing the videos. It's like a standing desk, right? Except I'm hunched over, so I'm not probably not the best posture, but whatever. All right, and I'm just going to do the bottom part of this flower, also in the gray. Alrighty, so, which is actually not gray, but smoky slate. And now I'm going to take my dark smoky slate, fine tip, and I'm going to just pick up a few of the veins. No, not all of them. Just to give it a little extra contrast. So, do whatever looks good to you on yours. No two cards are the same. They all are going to look different. I think I'm just going to do a little bit there. All right, that looks good to me. I guess I'll soften it a little with my light smoky slate. At least on the leaves, I think, because they're kind of a little bit chunky looking to me. Okay, the rest looks good to me. Okay, so done with our blending pens. And now we're going to bring in the cutting machine. And we're going to cut a couple of things now. Make a little space here. Alright, so I'm going to take my gray scrap, basic gray, and this is one of the dies, very beautiful, that comes with the Nature's Harvest set, or bundle, I should say, and then the one we just did. Alright, so I'm just going to line it all up. Alright, that looks good. Put the top plate on, hopefully without wiggling it. There we go. And crank it through. Now, some of the ladies here yesterday said that this new machine is harder to crank than the old machine, and I mean, maybe that's true, but it does a much better job with the delicate dies. Or with intricate dies, I'm sorry, and so they just pop right out. So, I mean, this isn't really intricate die, but you can see it comes right out. And here, this cut it out for us beautifully. So there's no way you could really fussy cut this like that. So, beautiful. All right, so let me move this. And we are ready to assemble. Yeah, good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to just assemble the card. So there's the base in basic gray. And I put adhesive on the 4 corners. And I'm going to put that on the front. And what I did with the tags was I went ahead and taped them first. So I lined up the holes and just sort of figured out the spread that I wanted, which is probably more than that. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. And I'm just going to hold it down and just put a piece of tape there to tape it in place. All right, and then I took my pale papaya ribbon, which is really gorgeous, by the way. And if you cut it at an angle, it's easy to slide through that hole. And I just did a half knot with it. I might have done, I think I did a full knot. So it doesn't really matter, but we'll do a full knot just in case, just so it doesn't fall off, which it probably wouldn't anyway. But there. All right, and I'm just going to trim it up, keeping it at an angle. Okay. It's just that easy, and I'm going to go ahead and tape it down. And I intentionally took this at an angle. I didn't put it straight because that looks kind of boring. It just gives more visual interest. kind of hovering it to where I want it, and there I'm going to put it down. So there we go. And then I'm taking this little element and I'm going to put it behind my flowers. So for that, I use the glue. I'm trying to find, there it is. Nope, that's not my glue pad. Can't find my glue pad. All right, well, that's what happens when you take everything upstairs. Oh, there it is. For Stamp Club and then come back down. You can't find things. Found it. All right, so I'm going to put the gray one on first. So this pad is, a new one. It's really nice because then you're not getting glue all over your work surface. So if you don't have one of these silicone pads, it's mats. It's a very good investment. And I don't even think they cost very much. I'm sure they're under $10 and maybe even under $5. Yeah, there's nothing more annoying than getting glue on your work surface and then getting your project stuck in your glue, and it's kind of frustrating. So there is that one. I'm going to put that one on first, and put it right here, kind of down the center of the white tag. And it was sticking out the top, so let me pull it down a little. Hopefully the glue isn't too set yet, and it's not. Good. All right, so about in the center and kind of up in the left-hand corner there. Like that, and so then this one will go at an angle right on top. So there we go. Okay, so now almost done with this card. I can't remember if I gave you white squares in your card kit. If I did, you could put a white square inside, or you could just leave it gray like that to write on. Just whatever you want to do. But that card is done. Isn't that gorgeous? Really love that stamp set. Calls to my heart. All right, so there's that one. And now we're going to do the next one. Make a little room. Oops. I knew I was going to get this up, and I did. Okay. Sorry, commercial break. All right, let's move this out of the way. And we're going to do this one, which I am calling a faux watercolor technique. The first thing I did, well, let me get the paper out. So we just need, so I cut this one the tall way. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, and a 1/4 sheet of the old olive, and I already stamped that, but a 1/4 sheet of the basic white. So yeah, I already stamped that. You saw me stamp one of those. I'll just speed it up and just use this one. All right, so I want to show you a technique, a new technique that I learned this week, actually, on using our watercolor pencils. So hold on a sec. There we go. Let me get out the colors I used. And a water marker. All right, so the colors I used, I'll just tell you as I go. Well, I'll tell you real fast, and then in case you want to pull yours out. I used Rich Razzleberry, Early Espresso, Bermuda Bay, Old Olive, Pumpkin Pie, and Daffodil Delight. So if you can see that there. All right, so we're going to start with the stems, which is Old Olive. All right, so, and I need a little scrap piece of paper. Okay, perfect. So when you, kind of the traditional way that I've used these markers is to, these pencils, I'm sorry, they're watercolor pencils, is to draw lines and then either pick up that color as paint or as watercolor or just spread it around like that. And so that's kind of how I've always used my watercolor markers, but this week I learned there's something else you can do with them. And that is, I put a drop of water there, and I'm just going to get my pencil really wet. And I'm kind of just running it in a little circle to kind of moisten it. And now I'm just going to color directly with my wet watercolor pencil. And what that does is gives you an intense color, or more intense color than just watercoloring, which would look like this lighter shade. So there we go. Isn't that pretty? Oh, and by the way, I stamped the image in crumb cake, not in black, because I want it to look more like watercolor. So it's kind of like painting between the lines. And another thing too is you don't want your pencils to be real sharp for this technique. You want them to be kind of blunt so that you have like a bigger working surface. Instead of just a little point, you've got kind of a bigger flat surface to work with. And so when I'm putting it in the water over here, I'm kind of pushing it down a little and swirling it around to get my tip nice and wet. So yeah, if you want your watercolor images to look more like you actually did it without using a stamped image, then you want to use a lighter color like I did when you stamp it. And that way the lines kind of go away and it looks like you're a real pro. All right, let me get a little more water here. And it doesn't ruin your watercolor pencils. They just dry out when you're done with them. And you can use them again just like you would normally use them. All right, isn't that pretty? So there's that. And next I'm going to do the petals. I'll be using Daffodil Delight. And the lady I saw that taught me how to do this, she just got the tips wet, but that wasn't enough for me, so I found it worked better if I just put a drop of water on my paper and then just kind of swirl it around. I'm actually pressing down when I'm swirling. And now I'm going to do the leaves, the petals. I already did the leaves. So it's funny, it almost looks like a marker when you do it this way. So like if you just had the pencil, I'll show you. If you just did the pencil, it would be lighter. See how that's lighter? But if you bring in the water, it activates the ink or over the pencil and makes it darker. So that's my fun watercolor tip for the week or the month, since we do this once a month. And I'm not going to forget that little one this time. So I guess I really like this stamp set because you can color it just however you want to. There's a lot of different ways you could use it. Or you don't even have to color it. It'd be pretty just on, you know, tone on tone. I'm going to show you a few cards when I'm done here that I made with this stamp set. I'm going to do that bottom part. I think I'm going to do the bottom part in green. I think I'll do yellow since I've already got it going. All right, so there's that. And now I did a little bit of line work with the pumpkin pie. So let me get this activated. And I just did picked up a few little lines. So in your kits, I gave you a completed one, and then I gave you the outline so you could play yourself, but I didn't know if everybody had watercolor pencils or not, so that's why I did that. All right, now I'm going to take my early espresso and do the same thing for the center part of the flower. And I kind of did it darker on the left-hand side. And I'm just going to kind of get the water off so I can do a lighter on the right side. See the color difference there? All right, and then just for a little bit of highlight, I took the rich raspberry, and on the left-hand side of the center of the flower, I just did a little bit of shading with the rich raspberry. Just like that. You can barely see it. And if you see it too much, you might want to take your brown and try to cover it up a little. So there. All right, so there's the card, the flower. So now I'm going to do the background. So to do the background, I'm going to do that first technique that I told you. I'm going to rotate this sideways because I think it's easier. So the way that I usually use the markers, or the pencils, like I said, is just to rub them either on a scrap paper or on my card. In this case, I'm going to rub it on the card. And I'm just basically making a box with my old olive one. Don't worry if it's not perfect, because you can get it. You'll get it better with the paintbrush. So there's that, and now I'm just going to add a few other colors. This is the Bermuda Bay. Is that right? Yeah, Bermuda Bay. Adding quite a bit of that because this guy should really be kind of blue, but I'm making it blue-green. All right, and then I'm just going to take just a smidgen. This is the Daffodil Delight. I'm just taking a few streaks of that just to give us some interest. I just do one little bit of pumpkin pie. Really not much. I'm going to do a little bit of the rich raspberry. A little bit of the early espresso. I'll stick some in there too, I guess. Okay, that's it. All right, so now I'm going to take my water painter, and actually I'm going to keep it sideways. I think it works better for me. Make sure it's good and wet. And yeah, I don't know if you probably didn't see that, but I kind of squoze some water out on my scrap paper. And now I'm going to start watercoloring. And it'll blend those colors in. If it's not blending nicely, either add more water or add more pencil. Maybe you didn't get enough pencil on there. And so it makes for a really interesting looking background. Try to stay off of your leaves, otherwise it'll lighten them up. Which you don't really want to do. You want them to be bold, which is why we use this technique. Squeezing out some more water. So this is not like a quick card, but it's an artistic card. It's a lot of fun. When you're done, you know, you can stand back and admire it. You wouldn't want to just give this card to anybody because you had to work for it a little bit. So once again, try to stay out of your image. Just trying to paint right up to it, but not actually paint the image. Okay, and so I didn't do a very good job of getting pencil in there, so what I'll probably do is just put some pencil over here and just mix it and bring it back to my image like that, which was kind of the traditional way that I was taught how to use these pencils. I could also just draw some more lines in there if I wanted to. And one trick is you do not want to get your paper too wet, otherwise it'll get all curly. All right, this time I think I'll do some Bermuda Bay. And we're almost done. It's probably darker than I wanted, but too late. Add a little more water. If you add a little more water, it lightens it up. Kind of funny, I hold my breath when I watercolor, which is probably not a good thing when you have a lot of watercoloring to do. And then try to talk at the same time. Yeah. All right, I just want to get this area up in here. Okay. How's that look? looks pretty good to me. All right, so, oops, not done, not done. All right, so the next thing I did was I made some grass and I just put some dots on. So, put a little more water over here and push it down the circle a little. And you really want a flat surface on your pencil for this, but basically I just drew some grass. I mean, I guess it's not grass up in the air, but you know. Okay, I like that. And then I just did a few, I think I took the brown for this, and I did a few dots. So dots. All right, so the lady who actually did this technique used watercolor paper, but I was trying to come up with kind of a faux watercolor paper look because I didn't have enough paper for my class for everybody to use the watercolor, and so I thought I'd try something different, and I did. So this one that I did, I think is called the Bark Embossing Folder. It's this one. But I decided I would try the textured textiles. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. Something textiled. TT. Anyway, that's this one. And for that, the 3D embossing folder, you need to lose the 2 and 3 plates. And so you only have the one base. And you want to put the paper in the embossing folder. I have like no room to show you this, but hopefully you can see it. Let me rotate it. There we go. So I just have the one plate, and I have the specialty gray plate, which is the 4 plate. And that goes on top, and you just run it through. Let me move this. And so to me, this looks like canvas, and so that's why I called it faux watercolor. And the other thing I forgot to do was to cut a frame for it. So let me bring this back here. And I need the 2 and 3 plate. And this will go next. Nope. Hello. Old Olive goes next with this die. And you just want to make sure you line up the corners good because you're using the frame. Normally I use the center part, but you can use the center part for another project. And we'll take another 3 plate and put it on top and run it run it through the machine. All right, so move this for real this time. And so you can use this for another project later, but this is what we needed for our card today. So I'm going to take my base, match up the corners, take my bone folder and make it nice and crisp. And then I'm going to put this on next. You could tape it or glue it. I think I'm just going to glue it. You don't want to get too close to the edge with the glue when you do this, otherwise it'll ooze out. Which is kind of annoying. All right, I'm going to line up my 4 corners. Or actually my 2 corners there. Come on, there you go. Press it down. It probably is best to glue this because then it'll, when you watercolor, the paper gets a little warpy, but now it's just nice on there, really nice. And grab my silicone mat, which I should have done last time. Flip this over because this is the back side. And glue is a good choice of adhesive for this because it's hard to get anything else this thin. Most of your adhesives are like at least a 1/4 inch. To a 1/2 inch, depending on what you're using. So there. So let me just show you something. When you're using this mat, you see I've got some dried glue. It just rubs right off. That's why this mat's really nice. But I think I'll leave it here for a sec. Put this on there. In case any of my glue oozes out. It won't be on my surface. It'll be, if you wanted to. I'm just going to pull that over. So yeah, I might take my scissors and trim the bottom. I would hesitate to put it in my paper trimmer because I've trimmed too much when I do that. There, I just took it to 1 layer because I was having a hard time getting through 2. Now I'm going to trim the bottom layer. And there we go. Perfect, huh? All right, so you could put a sentiment on here. This Nature's Harvest has a lot of nice sentiments. Sending healing thoughts. May nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. Thank you. A reminder to never forget how much you mean to me, and so many others. And good luck. So for this card, I chose to use the thank you. And this die is actually in the Nature's Harvest die kit, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm getting there. So let me... I'm going to use my memento for this, and I'm using just a white scrap. Thank you. And I think, rather than drag my machine back over here, I'm just going to cut it out real fast and I'll be right back. So here it is. And I forget, did I? Yeah, I think I popped it up on a dimensional. So let me grab 2 dimensionals. Looks like I got 3. I don't really need 3. Take off the little paper backing. And you can just put it wherever looks good to you, you can put it up here. You could put it down here, over here. I kind of liked it up here, so that's where I stuck it. And we're done. Isn't that gorgeous? Alrighty, so there's that card, card number 2. I did want to show you the dies that come with this. I didn't get a chance to cut them all out, but here they are. So there's 2 frames that you can cut those words out with that come with the set. And there's these 1, 2, where's the other one? Oh, it's in my other box. Hold on. Well, of course now. Oh, there it is. Gosh. All right, so oh, here we go. So I didn't cut them out, but I did put them on a card. And, I mean, I did cut them out, but I didn't put them on a paper. So you can see these are the 3 flowers. And to get these brown areas, I just took a sponge dauber. So when I cut it out, I left it on the paper, and I took a sponge dauber and dabbed it. In fact, here it is. So like this. It's hard to do because it's already on the card, but anyway, I just dabbed it real hard and got a little bit of color there for the lines. So I thought that kind of popped it a little, made it look even cuter. And so yeah, this is another card that I made with it, with the new wood grain embossing folder, which is really gorgeous, really tight weave. I have an older embossing folder with a wood grain, but this one is just so much prettier. So, and the little branches, that's this one, which look quite pretty too. So there you go. Really beautiful stamp set and dies that go together. And then this thing cuts out this flower area. So this is definitely, it's actually my favorite set in the new catalog. In the new mini catalog that came out. There's a lot of beautiful stuff in here, but I really, really like this set. Okay, so not only do we have a new mini catalog, we're doing celebration for 2 months, which is awesome. So basically, for every $50 you spend, you can get a free item from the celebration catalog. They have some beautiful, dazzling designer series paper. They've got this really cute cardstock that goes with the Playful Playmates, or the Penguin Palace bundle, I guess. But you don't have to buy the bundle. You can just get this paper and cut these little guys out and make some really cute cards. There's also this Feels Like Home set. There's beautifully penned 12 by 12 designer series paper. There's this free Peaceful Prince designer series paper, which I actually got in my pre-order. And I'm gonna do some one-sheet wonder cards with this, and I don't know, I might hold a class, or I don't know what I'll do. But anyway, I thought that was really cute, and I'm gonna buy this little punch and make some cute cards. This cute counting sheet bundle, very cute, is for $50, and if you want to spend another $50, you can get the dies that go with it that have these cute little clouds, which I used as grass or clouds, and a fence, which is really cute. I really like the fence. There's also this texture and frames stamp set, free with $50. And then we get into the $100 bundles, which are really beautiful. You can get the Summer Shadow dies, which coordinates with the Shaded Summer stamp set, which is really pretty. And you can also get the free Delicate Dahlias set, which that's what I got, and that's what our next card is. Wow, I fell in love with this set instantly. So pretty. And if you host and you have a $300 party or more, you can get this free In Your Words stamp set. So there you go. That celebration is this month and next month. And let's get to our third card. I need more room. I guess that's always like the lament of my life. All right, we'll put that there. All right, so this is our third card, and it's called a lock and slide card. And I've never seen anything like it. It's quite unique. You can use any shape here. And in fact, I did the same thing but with a square instead of a diamond. And you can't just open, it's just a gatefold card, but you can't open it. You've got to like slide this mechanism out. And I'm going to show you how to make that right now. So it just slides back in. So, and this is a square version, but you could do a circle. I saw a card that had a star. Anything that's symmetrical that you could fold in half, you can make as the locker mechanism. So, let me get my paper out. So it's just a simple gatefold. I think it's 2 1/4 or 2 1/8. 2 1/8 you score. 2 1/8, and for the mechanism you need a top and a bottom. So I've got 2 purples, and then you need 2 side folds. So these are all the same size. I think they're all 3 by 3 squares. So there they are. I need a smaller white square for my stamped image on top of the purple. I need a scrap for my sentiment. I need 2 panels for my gatefold. And a white scrap for my little purple flower. And I think that's it. Okay. Now, so this is, I can't even think what it's called. Detailed die, a detailed stamp set. I think that's not quite the right word, but anyway, it's highly detailed. And when I originally did my stamp, I forgot that it really works better if you use this thick foam pad. It's only $5, and it's a paper piercing pad, but it really works well when you have this style, distinctive, that's what it's called, distinctive stamp set. So there's my foam pad. I cut a square of paper the same size as my foam pad, just so I don't get ink on my foam pad. And first I'm going to start with the panels, which I laid them side by side. And by the way I picked the colors was I wanted to use fresh freesia, so I got my fresh freesia card out, and there was fresh freesia, gorgeous grape, and granny apple green, and I thought they looked really good together, so I did that. This version is at the bottom, the fresh freesia soft seafoam and gray granite, which I thought was also really pretty, but I didn't have enough gray granite paper to use, so we went with a gorgeous grape one. So that's how I figured out my colors. And yeah, okay. So I'm going to start with the fresh freesia pad. And oh, it's already on the block here. Let me grab it. So I took my big flower. Now, by the way, I always do this when I have a 2-step. This is a 2-step where you have an outline. I marked the top of each flower so that I know that this is always the top. And this is always the top. This just a little black Sharpie that I did on the back side. And that way, if I want a 2-step, I can line up my image better. It's really hard to line them up no matter what, even if you have that, but it works better with that little trick. So I actually did a two-step on this card, but I didn't in the class because it looked a lot better once I started using the foam pad. So I just wanted the beautiful, distinctive design to show through. Now this is a really wide stamp, so you just want to make sure you're not just like leaving a line on the side of your flower. So that's why I'm moving it around and kind of jiggling it around a little. All right, so there you go. I'm holding it together and I'm pressing down fairly firm, not totally firm, and you can see the beautiful distinctive design showing up. So I'm doing 1, 2, and I'm going to do a third one. Just want to make sure it's at a different angle than this top one. So there that is. I did my 3 flowers. And while I'm at it, and I've got the flower out, I want to go ahead and just do my square. My little white square. Yeah, thank you, Carol. Distinctive, I know. I should probably write these things down before I get started because I always get in the middle of my video and it's like, it's hard. Yeah, I can't even remember my name, you know? So, yeah, there you go. Sorry. You just have to bear with me. And I think I didn't line that up very well. I might have to flip it over and do the other. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, good. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty that distinctive image is. And so we are done with Fresh Freesia. I'm going to get it out of here. Clean my stamp up real fast. And I'm going to do the leaf next. I'm doing the next largest image. That's how you do these. These busy background, which has a name too that I'm not thinking of. Maybe Carol will tell me. I want to say kaleidoscope, but that's not it. I'll think of it. But anyway, so you do the next largest image, which is a leaf. And I'm going to do 3 leaves. 1. So always want to work in odd numbers when you're designing. And I think I'll go here maybe. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And next I'm going to pull in, so that was Granny Apple Green. I'm going to pull in the Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to do this flower, which is really pretty. And I think I'll do 1 here, and then I think I'll stamp off here with that one. And do 1 there. Stamp off there. And 1 there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Last, this came from, I think it was a color and contour set. The little dots. Now when I work with dots, so I also use the Gorgeous Grape for this. I don't ink up the whole image. I just ink up a little portion of it, and that way you can control it better. Otherwise you get a big blob of dots. And I also stamped off on this, so there we go, stamping off, and I'll probably just go twice. And see how you can control that better when you just have a little bit inked up. Otherwise, I'd be spilling onto my image, and I don't really want to do that. And that looks good. I'll just put 1 more dot down here. That looks good. Oh, no, we need 1 more up there. Okay. And I'm going to bring in my centerpiece flower. Same thing, stamp off. And I'm seeing now that I should not have been so quick to clean my little purple flower, but oh well. Okay. So I just need a scrap for my purple flower, and I'm going to fussy cut it, which I don't see my favorite scissors. I think they're upstairs, so I'll try these. Hopefully they work okay. So I'm sorry, I should have fussy cut this before the class, before the video, but I kind of forgot. It's kind of hard to have club one day and then tape the next day. It's a lot of little things to remember. And, you know, I just tend to forget half of them. So you just have to bear with me while I cut them out, and maybe you're cutting yours out as well. And if not, you can go clean the refrigerator or something. Come back in about, 1 minute. So wouldn't it be nice to have a punch for this? That would be really sweet. All right, there it is. Okay, so now we can assemble. We are done stamping. Now we get to the fun part, the final design part, the most satisfying part. I think I did not do this, so let me do that because it's really standing up. You just want to make sure you got the images going the same way because you stamped them that way after all. And I think I'm just going to do a glue day today. Oops, got a little close to the edge there. Get that out of there. I hope I did that right. I did not. Let's try that again. Yep. Good thing I used glue, huh? It's about to dry though. I'm about out of time there on that. All right. Don't do that. Hopefully you do it right. You're probably all screaming like, no, you got it wrong. Fix it. Oh, I haven't shown you how to do the mechanism. That'll be next, which is really pretty cool. All right, so that's the gate. I mean, you all probably made gatefold cards before, so there's nothing new there. But what is new, or it was new to me anyway, was this lock and fold mechanism. So like I said, you could do any shape. We did a square for this, but I put it in the diamond position. So I'm going to just start with the front smaller white panel and put it on my purple, which is actually called Gorgeous Grape. All right, that looks good. And I need my paper cutter. There it is, hiding over there. Okay. And I'm going to make sure I've got the score. So the cutter has a lighter scoring blade and a darker cutting blade. I want to make sure I have the scoring blade. I can't tell you how many times I've cut stuff instead of scored it, which is really annoying. I'm just lining the points up with the groove. Get my fingers out of the way, and I emboss that down the center. And I'm going to do it again with this one. There, perfect. All right. And you just want to fold these in half now. Make a little triangle. Okay. So now we're going to flip this over, and basically we're going to take our two triangles and make sure it's the right way. Like if you have a mistake on your flower that you're going to cover up, like with this one, you want to make sure it's going the right direction. In my case, I actually don't have a mistake. That's pretty unusual for me. Usually have something to cover up, but not today, so yay. And I'm going to put glue on here. And just line up the corners. And you want to press it down really good. I'll do the other side. There. And now I'm going to do this. So you see it'll fold up like that, but you want to fold it down. Make sure you get glue into the four corners. And put this panel on. So if you were going to do another shape, like a star or a circle, you just need 4 of the same shape, and you score 2 of them down the side. Now I could have used purple paper here instead of white, but I frankly ran out of purple paper. So anyway, so you can see, you can kind of peel it up a little and see. You don't want to peel it up too much, because then you're going to kind of destroy the mechanism. So now you just want to take it and slide it onto your card. The first time is a little bit difficult because it's kind of stiff, but just gently work with it. Oh, if you want to put a white panel in here, you can. I don't know, can't remember if I gave you paper for that or not in your kits, but I'm sure you all have white paper. And there, I got it on. And you just slide it on and it locks. Now I'm seeing that I kind of did a messy job here, so I want to take my scissors and trim it. There, that looks a lot better. And I'm going to slide it back on. So I just kind of put my fingers on both sides to open it up a little. I did get some glue back there, I thought I did. There we go. So it's on, and I popped this up. Actually, let me do this first. I need to find a block for this real fast. This is kind of a giant size one. I can't find my other one. I'm sure it's somewhere in this giant mess. I always get a mess when I'm stamping. Especially when I'm stamping on screen, because, yeah, you can't really take the time to clean up. So I thought that "You inspire me" is a really nice saying. You inspire me to be a better person. You inspire me to be a better mom. Just lots of ways that people inspire us. So there. Oh, I used this. I don't know if this is in the catalog or not, but that's what I used. And you can just trim off the other edge. And I'm going to put a dimensional on the back. And I'm going to put it on here. Yeah, it's not really going to work. Okay, let me just put a little piece of tape on the back. I just put it on the side because you don't want to tape this side because it's going to be like hanging there. And kind of hover it to where you want it. That looks good. I'm going to press it all down. And, jewels. Yay. Just grab a jewel for the center of, which I don't think I gave you guys jewels just because it's really too hard to give you 2 jewels, but I imagine you all have jewels. You can put one there. You could put a big one if you wanted to in the center of your big flower. And that one is done. So I had a lot of fun playing with this stamp set. I'm going to show you some of the things I did. Hold on, where's my other card? Just a sec. Well, I somehow managed to lose one of my cards. That's too bad. Oh, here it is. Cool. Okay, so what I did, I stamped an entire sheet of paper with this design. So I just did the big flowers first, then I did the leaves, the smaller flowers, and then I filled in with, instead of dots, I used a wood grain from a new stamp set that I'm going to show next month. And then I just cut it into quarters, and actually a little less than quarters, and matted it, and there was a quick sympathy card. I needed actually 2 sympathy cards this week, sadly, and so that was a quick sympathy card. This is one that I copied from someone else that I thought was really beautiful. Oh, thanks, Carol. And, well, you already saw this one. This was just another, I was playing with this before the class, and I think I'll make this into a card, but you can see you can make some really beautiful backgrounds with this. So, oh, one last thing. If I can find it. It's here somewhere. There it is. So last month at Club, we were talking about how I had some stamp sets that I'd never got an opportunity to use because they ran out in the store before they retired, and so some people expressed an interest in those stamp sets, and one of them was Kangaroo and Company that I had wanted to demo in May, but they sold out. And so Cassandra said, well, why don't you just make some really cool cards and just charge us for them? And so I did, but I did it a little late, so we're going to do this next month, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. So this is Kangaroo and Company, and this was a really cool card that I made. And so this is a gift card. You can slide a gift card in here. And you don't have to say hello, baby. I did because I thought that was fun. The little baby comes out of the pouch. Really a cute stamp set. But there's a lot of other sayings. You could say just stopping by to say hi. You could put a birthday hat on. Thanks a bunch. Just a note. Love you much. So you could use this really for any kid. You can't buy the stamp set anymore, but if you want to do at the end of Stamp Club next month, just make a special card for $5 with this stamp set. You can do that. And I have 2 other designs that I'm putting together. It'd be $5 a card that you can make. So keep that in mind if you're interested. Just let me know because I'll have to cut them out, right? But anyway, I thought this was really fun. Little gift card holder. So lots of fun ideas coming up next month. So stay tuned. And I'll just put these cards back out to close this because that way it makes a thumbnail of this when I'm done. So, of course, it helps if I line it up. Thanks for stopping by today, and thanks for being a part of my club. I hope you guys can come in person next month, And hope to see you soon. Bye now.